everyone, welcome to Intro to Internet Research. It's a 1 credit hour online class. My name is Margaret Henderson and I'm your instructor. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, there's an introduction section which you all will introduce yourself on to, so you'll see about that in a little bit. Just a little bit in general about college classes. The class time, that's the number of credit hours. For the example, this is 1 credit hour. That's the time that you meet in class per week. So this is a half-session class, which would mean that just listening to lectures, or if you were in an in-person class meeting, would be 2 hours per week. Your study time for a college class should be 2 to 3 times the amount of time you meet in class. So for a 3 credit hour class, that would be 6 to 9 hours of outside study for that class, and for this class 2 to 4, because we're in a half session for the semester. So this class is a lot of work, and I want you to be aware of that. And I want you to be aware of that before you start. Okay, so this class is being taught for the first time in Canvas, which is our new learning management system replacing Angel. So it looks a little different, and this is the first time I'm using it to teach, so I'm kind of going to struggle along with you guys as we learn it. Mine's going to look a little different than yours because it's the instructor version, but it should be sort of close. What we've got is the navigation on the left side is going to be most of the things that you need. The home page comes to this introduction video and a little bit my contact information, stuff like that every time. The syllabus, that's going to have everything, that the due dates of everything, and everything that you're getting for a grade is listed here. You can see everything that you'll be graded on, and if you click on it, it'll bring you to the actual assignment or quiz or whatever, tell you a little bit about it before you start. The main page that you're going to go to get your information for this class is, and generally in Canvas, is the modules on the left side. So this should look more similar to Angel. Instead of folders, we have like these grayed out tabs at the top. Introductions, this is where you guys are going to go first. It's a discussion forum where you can introduce yourself, and I've asked you to tell me a little bit, some certain things, whether you've taken Comp 1 or 2, random facts about you, what your area of study is, all that sort of stuff. And then we get into Lesson 1. There's 2 assignments for Lesson 1, and they'll be due next week, and you'll be able to see that right here under the module. You can also see that in the calendar tab at the top. You'll be able to see everything that's due. For example, Quiz 1 Research Keywords Worksheet is due on the 10th. Next week we have spring break, so there's nothing there. The first thing at the beginning of every session that we've got 5, is a lecture, and that's going to be like a video of a PowerPoint and doing examples and searches and stuff like that. I've uploaded the PowerPoint for you to take notes on if you want. Sometimes I attach links in the notes section, so be aware of that. Then every class has a discussion board. That's how I'm going to grade your participation, which is worth 10% of your overall grade. If you have questions or you find a cool link, or you want to tell someone something, clarify something about the material, you can post it in the discussion board. And then you're going to have 4 quizzes, just quick 10-minute quizzes, really short, just to make sure that you've really understood the material. So for that reason, I would recommend taking notes as you're listening to the lecture. In the first lesson, you have a research keyword worksheet, which is basically forming a search string, and you'll see instructions on that when you click on it. And this first lesson, Research Strategies, is going to be talking about where do I start when I search, how do I pick a topic, how do I know if my topic's too big or small, how do I find keywords, how do I combine my keywords with Boolean operators, truncation, nesting, all those sorts of things. And you want to make sure the things like nesting, truncation, phrase searching, you want to make sure you know those really well, building blocks of searching. The second session is going to be on search engines. We're going to learn some things about general search engines, but mostly we're going to focus on Google. And again, for this lesson, you've got your slides, discussion forum, and quiz. Section 3, library databases. This is where you're going to go into the deep web, as it's called. It's going to be password protected, so you'll need to have your student ID number and password, which is going to be the last 4 of your social, and it'll explain that in the lecture. You'll log in to access these databases versus Google, free to everyone. Again, you'll have a discussion forum and a quiz. The 4th section, evaluating resources, this is going to be how you tell if the information is good or not. Obviously, I don't want you to use Wikipedia. If you find another source on the internet, how do you know if it's credible or not? Is it okay to use in college research? Is it believable? You'll find out what questions to ask to see if it's a good source. You've got no quiz. This in this week for the evaluating resources, but you do have an assignment worth 10 points. You'll choose a website, and you should be kind of thinking about what you'll do for your course project. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's the culmination of this class. For that, that's the topic that you should use when looking for your website on this assignment. Lesson 5, documenting resources. This is a lesson on citation. How to cite things, when to paraphrase, what plagiarism is, copyright law, all that sort of stuff is going to be here. The most important part is going to be is learning about plagiarism and how to avoid it. Your chosen citation style. I let you choose between APA and MLA. So all this information that we've got 1 through 5 culminates in this giant course project, which is an annotated bibliography of 5 sources. I used to just have the bibliography due at the end and it was worth 50% of the grade, but people really stumbled with that, so now I've got it in 3 different graded steps. The first step, the course project starter sheet, is basically similar to lesson 1. You'll pick a topic, you'll come up with keywords and your search string. Part 2, you'll post part of your annotated bibliography on a discussion forum with you, where your classmates will tell you if they see any mistakes that you've made or anything like that. Part 3 is submitting the actual course project. And I've got videos and stuff to guide you through that. Tell you what an annotated bibliography is if you don't know, a sample here, outside help, all sorts of things. And there is 5 points of extra credit in the class, and it is a community service project where you would have someone from a community organization that you'll volunteer for sign your paper. You can submit it to me here, or you can email it to me, or whatever way is good. But it has to have the contact information of the person that you volunteer for, and that'll give you 5 points, just due by April 29th, which is close to when the class ends, and I have to turn final grades in. So that's the modules tab on the side. You'll find everything that you need for the class here. It'll tell you when it's due and how many points that it's worth. And I encourage you guys, if you have questions, to use the discussion boards. I'm not here on Mondays, and that's when your stuff is due, so perhaps if I'm not available, you can ask other students in the class, and they can respond to you and maybe get back to you a little faster than I would be able to do. When I am here, I try to respond to your email expediently so you can get an answer, but the discussion board is a good source for if I'm not in the office and my work hours are down at the bottom of the homepage again. So something else I want to tell you that is if you don't complete 3 assignments, and I'm going to count the introduction on the discussion board, even though it's not graded as an assignment, you'll be dropped from the class. So make sure you continue to do your assignments and get in there and participate. When you write on discussion boards in general, people get to know each other better. In an online class, it's really difficult to have a sense of community. So I hope that you guys will, be a little casual on the discussion board. And just generally participate in conversations. Some of the stuff, it's not all dry. Learning about research is fun, especially the Google parts. You can find stuff really easily. Once you have Google skills, you can make the web of vast information, 40 million hits, really narrow down and get exactly what you want, so you don't have to page through page after page with thousands of results on every page. One more thing I want to tell you guys, if you're having an issue with the actual Canvas itself, there's a help tab up here that you can click, and Canvas has 24/7 service. Or if you're having a problem with logging in or something that the college needs to fix, you can go to the e-learning website, and down here on the help tab, you can go to the student help desk. You can fill out a trouble ticket with all your information, and then e-learning will contact you directly to help. Also, for your assignments, your quizzes will get automatic feedback, and I encourage you to look at these so you can see what you've missed in review. Also, on your written assignments, like your research keyword worksheet and stuff, I spend a lot of time commenting on them, redoing your research if I think that your search statement needs to be revised, telling you exactly what I think you need to do. So please spend the time to look at what I've written on your paper. Well, I think that's it, and I look forward to a great session D with you guys and getting to know you and using this new Canvas software. I'll see you on the discussion board, and you can email me if you've got any questions. On to the introduction board and your lesson 1 module for this week.